Hey guys, so today we've got a gigantic piece of 4140. I got a guy who wants me to build him a socket, a gigantic socket for a piece of tractor equipment that is very old and they don't make any of the stuff for it anymore, or the tooling. So I got about a 8-pound piece of 4140. It measures 4 inches in diameter by 5 inches long. The socket is going to be a square drive socket on this side. Probably trim a little bit off, and then there'll be a 3/4 inch square drive on the back, and hopefully taper it down a little bit. And he doesn't want it hardened, but we'll see about that. Anyhow, so that's what I got. Let's put this in the lathe. Just starting out facing the material. Just doing the outside turn right now. Beautiful color, but the chip is way too big, so we got to change some stuff up here. I don't have a different chip breaker, at least I don't think I have a different chip breaker, so we're gonna have to play with the feeds and speeds a little bit on this one. A little bit better finish, but not much better chip. Quick finishing pass to final dimension. Okay, we're at our final diameter, which is 3 3/4 of an inch. We're gonna use a 3/4 inch drill bit, punch all the way through our socket, because we're going to be using a 3/4 inch socket, or driver, excuse me, on this socket. And then this end, or whichever end I deem to be the front, will have a 1 11/16 square drive on it. Okay, there's our 3/4 inch hole. That is 2 3/4 inches deep. And now we're gonna switch the 3/4 inch drill bit up for a 1 3/16, and at least punch this half of the hole out to give us a little better chance of moving more material with a drill instead of an end mill. Okay, that step up in drill bit size was a little foolhardy. I got a lot of chatter marks going right here. Let's see if I can pick up any of those. There we go. So I'm just going to use a boring bar. Okay, so now we got an 1 1/4 hole punched, and that's what she looks like. And now we are going to part this, and then we can put some Dykem on there, or some glue, or you can use Sharpie, whatever you want to do. And you can plot out the hole you're going to cut, and we can do that on both ends. And then we can move it over to the mill. So trying to part an almost 4-inch piece of 4140 on my particular lathe was not the best call of action, so I'm just going to bandsaw this in half, put it back on the lathe, and then face it. And there we go. Bandsawed it in about 5 minutes. Way easier than trying to part it on a lathe. Now you can get it to the lathe and clean up that edge right there. Okay, got the socket back in the lathe and the four jaw. Just dialed it in. Got maybe a 1/2,000th about around, but that's okay because we're just going to face this off. Alright, so we got our product in the vise here, and we have an indicator magnetized to the shaft of the mill, and you just walk around, make sure that we are actually on 0, which looks like we are dead center. Now we can start cutting. Alright, and there's our very shallow first pass just to make sure that everything works out. Here's our 3/4 adapter. And you can see that lines up nice in there. So we can just keep on, now we can punch to the full depth with this end mill. This end mill is a Gorilla 5 flute end mill, 1/4 inch. I really kind of like these end mills. Maybe I should explain exactly what I did. So we got a 3/4 inch square hole that we want. And so basically you take half the diameter of the hole you want, half the diameter of your cutter, and then you can just extrapolate that. So had to move a 1/4 in the right direction with X, 1/4 down in the Y, 1/2 inch over X, 1/2 inch up Y, and then, you know, X and then Y, and right back down to 0 with the drill. Anyhow, so yeah, and then I'm just gonna keep on punching that out until our final dimension. Okay, we're at final depth. Here's our 3/4 inch adapter. Fits in there nice and snug. Now we can drill the hole for the detent, and we're also going to clean up this edge. Obviously it's still sharp, but before any of that we're going to flip it over and then do the big square. Okay, so we flipped it over in the vise and we blued everything out. Just kind of put a little imprint here of where I'm going to be going. Have a TTC from Spain roughing end mill 4 flute, made out of M42. We'll see what the M42 can do with the 4140. And I plotted out my course right here, and we're going for 1 inch and 11/16. We'll just take a real small cut just to see what it looks like, and we'll go from there. I made a really nice little cut on that pass, and so now we'll just keep on going until we hit our target depth, which is 1 inch, and then we'll grab a smaller end mill and we'll clean up these corners so we get a nice square hole there. Okay, there's 1 inch of depth there, and this is a 1 11/16 square hole. Just got to break all these corners, and then I might punch this inner diameter out a little bit more for the bit of bolt that sticks out from the nut, and then maybe I'll cut some angles on that socket. And here's our finished product, ready to go. 3/4 inch drive on this side, 1 11/16 on this side. Got some bluing on there to keep the rust away, and a little fresh coat of oil. Anyhow guys, remember, loose is fast, brakes only slow down, and shotguns have a wider spread. Be safe, and we'll see you next time in the shop.